Today on the Philly Talk podcast, I want to continue the conversation we had yesterday as it pertains to the trade deadline. But I want to focus on what I believe Howie Roseman is feeling. We already know it's been recorded. He's been asking about running backs, he's been asking about pass rushers. My whole thing is this: how aggressive he was this offseason, turning out to a 6-0 record. Why would he just stop now?
This is Philly Talk with Philly Mike. Talking sixes in the bird gang, that's I like. Competition, we ain't scared, yeah, that's what we like. Win or lose, you know we showing up and we gon' fight. You see we strive for the sky every day that go by. And every single week we screaming fly, eagles fly. This is Philly Talk with Philly Mike, yeah. This is Philly Talk with Philly Mike, yeah.
What is going on, everybody? I go by Philly Mike, and this is the Philly Talk podcast. And today we got a lot to get into. More news about the guys we talked about yesterday. Plus, Jimmy Kempski of the Philly Voice did write an article that said 3 possible trade scenarios for the Eagles. Guys that haven't been talked about. One, a former Eagle. We'll get into all that, but before we do it, you know what I'm going to ask you. Help your boy out. Hit the like for Philly Mike, the Eagles, and just this undefeated season. Also, ding the bell so you know when these videos drop. Plus, there's a link in the description called the Chalkboard app. Download it. It's free. Join and talk Eagle news behind the YouTube scenes with me and 327 plus great Eagle fans. Now, let's get into this because I talked about Bradley Chubb yesterday, and I still think right now he's the best pass rusher to go for over Robert Quinn of the Chicago Bears, over Brian Burns of the Carolina Panthers. When you look at what you got to give up for Brian Burns, and yes, he's younger, he could grow with the team, but he's going to be off his rookie deal. So not only do you got to give up compensation, first round pick, maybe 2, even if it's 1, that might be too much depending on which one they're asking for, then you got to pay him next year anyways. Bradley Chubb. Reports are now that the top pass rusher, Bradley Chubb, will be traded likely by Tuesday if the Denver Broncos loses to the Jaguars week 8, according to Mike Florio. Mike Florio does have solid background on reporting stuff for multiple teams that come true. He's not a talker, to say the least. If they lose to the Jags, he becomes a trade possibility, a real one. A guy who has 5.5 sacks, 24 tackles, and 2 forced fumbles on 6 weeks, 7 weeks. 6 for us because we got the bye week. But 7 weeks of football, he has 5.5 sacks. He might be a 1-year rental, but we are set up for the future as well. Let's not act like we don't have 2 first-round picks, one inside the top 5. If we don't want to pick inside the top 5, you push that pick to number 12, number 9, number 10. Well, now you got 2 first-round picks next year's too. There's just so much that can be done for the future. Let's also worry about now if we are going all in how Howie Roseman did in 2017. 5-1, went in the offseason, went in at the trade deadline. Howie went into the offseason heavy, aggressive. We're 6-0. Let's continue. If there's a legit, reasonable trade, don't go just buying nothing for no reason. Pass rusher, running back is what he's been sniffing. I'm more interested in a pass rusher. Running back might make the offense more scary. If Kareem Hunt is lining up there, Miles Sanders, Kareem Hunt, Miles Sanders, Kareem Hunt, a little Kenny G, that's a scary offense. Kareem Hunt is no slouch. No slouch. And then you get Sanders and Kareem Hunt, the best of both worlds. And the best because they're fresh for the cold weather games. But let's look at the article Jimmy Kempsey has written. It's crazy. 3 players who make sense for the Eagles at the trade deadline 4.0. The first one is none other than running back David Montgomery, who's 25 years old, from the Bears, 5'11", 224. He would definitely be the bruiser back. The bruiser back. Montgomery appeal to the Eagles should be pretty straightforward. He's a tough between the tackles runner in the same mold of a Jordan Howard, but with more speed and pass catching abilities and less mileage. Montgomery stats are not particularly impressive. Um, 2022, 77 rushes for 303 so far this season. However, you're going to use him as your bruiser. Miles Sanders will still be your go to for the majority of the plays. And then when you need that 3rd and 2, if you don't want to keep running Jalen Hurts on goal line rushes, on big 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 3s, well, now you got your guy who can take the beating at 224. The second guy he mentioned is Desmond King, 27 years old, defensive back from the Texans. King is a versatile defensive back who can play outside corner and slot corner, and he has experience returning punts. 74 career punt returns, who average 9 yards per carry on his punt return career. They talk about him being a very versatile player. If we're all the way healthy, he might not play and he might not like it. But they talk about in this article him filling in at safety if it needs to be, being our go to backup corner if somebody gets hurt, meaning Slayer, Bradbury, or even Maddox. Do you trust Desmond King or Josiah Scott? Desmond King or Zach McPherson? That's his pretty much point of view if one of them go down. And last but not least, Ronnie McLeod, 32 years old, safety from the Colts. We know who he is. He knows the defense. And here's pretty much why he said Ronnie McLeod. Because he saw how the defense was when Kevon Wallace had to come in. If for some reason Marcus Epps or CJ Garner Johnson gets hurt, Kevon Wallace cannot get the job done. I thought he could. Coming out of Clemson, I really had high hopes from one Kevon Wallace, but it has not translated. This guy, Ronnie McLeod, knows the system. He did not start for the Colts week 1. They gave Nick Cross right here, the starting position. The young guy, I think out of Maryland, I believe he was. But by week 3, he couldn't get the job done. So they started making Ronnie McLeod the starter week 3 and on. But the Colts ain't winning anything. They just benched Matt Ryan for who? They say in the article, Sam Ellinger. So by benching Matt Ryan for Sam Ellinger, you might want to go back to Nick Cross over Ronnie McLeod. And you might want to save money on the deal you gave Ronnie McLeod and just go young and see what these young players got. If Matt Ryan is done, what are you trying to really test out with Ronnie McLeod? He's not going to be here long term. That's Nick Cross's job long term. And if you look at Ronnie McLeod's base salary, it's only $1,120,000, which is really affordable. Is Ronnie McLeod going to change this team if we're healthy? No. But it does give a depth piece at safety that is cheap, and he knows the system if an injury happens, because Kevon Wallace is not the answer. And I don't want this team to be flying high, so to speak, and then an injury to the safety at the end of the year really put our secondary at a disadvantage. So these are Jimmy Kempski's 3 options. Ronnie McLeod, cheap, backup. Desmond King, cheap, backup. And David Montgomery as the backup running back. So no starter. Montgomery will get play, though, because he would be your bruiser or your thunder to Miles Sanders' lightning with little Kenny G flavor on the side. But the other 2 will be backups. But your boy Philly Mike really wants the Broncos to lose to the Jags, and I want Bradley Chubb on this roster. That's what I want. And I really wouldn't mind Kareem Hunt. If you're talking a 4th-round pick, 3rd or 4th-round pick, 3rd is a little tough to give up. But a 4th-round pick for Bradley Chubb, sign me up. 4th-round pick for Kareem Hunt, sign me up. And the reason I say 4th, because these players could be rentals. Could be. But Howie Roseman normally knows how to get the job done. And I understand completely that we got to pay guys like Garner Johnson, TJ Edwards, Kaiser White, Marcus Epps, James Bradbury. I understand that. I believe Howie Roseman don't do all this and don't extend any of these players if he can't get it done. And why be so aggressive in the offseason if you were just going to stay stagnant now. I'm not saying you got to trade for somebody, but if you do, he's been sniffing around for a reason. These two positions, pass rusher and running back. Y'all let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Plus, if you made it this far, you a OG. I will be live tonight at 8:30, 8:45. Goat Talk. Me, LB, come through. Don't forget, until next time, you know what time it is. Leave your thoughts in the comment section because I love hearing from you. We out.